All right, Jeremy and Brandon here from friendofourc.com giving you our review on the Traxxas Gymkhana Ken Block edition. So our reviews, obviously, they're opinions, so take them for what you will. But we'll jump right into it and start with some of the technical specs. So after putting several packs through it, Brandon is probably a little bit more qualified to talk about the tech, but in general, in how it looks, if you ask me, it seems pretty well engineered, real balanced with the display. What do you think?
Yeah, this is Traxxas again using their 16 scale chassis on another car, but for good use. They have everything well centered, low to the ground. I liked it. It handled real well. We had a lot of fun with it. Plenty of power with the 380 Valenian. Obviously, almost too much power. We only ran it on 2 cells.
Yeah,
that was more than enough if you want to go for 3 cell and get a speed run.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. And given its limited use in terms of its capabilities, did you see anything like from a technical standpoint that you would have changed?
I think the biggest problem I had, the biggest complaint, were the tires. Traxxas tried real hard to make these Gymkhana tires.
Sure.
Well, what is that? What does that mean? They're just a little bit too sticky to be a drift car. I wish they were a little bit harder. Would have been a little bit easier to drift. If you're taking it on concrete and pavement around your house, you're going to find that it tends to stick pretty hard and then just let go. So it gets kind of frustrating. Finding the right surface is, I guess, the name of the game.
Probably why it got killed by everyone who really wanted to be a drift car. Just, you know, like you said, just honestly too much power for drifting and not the right setup in terms of tires. There are probably other things working against it, but those two definitely stick out. So in terms of cost of operation, durability, you know, anything Traxxas, I think, basically, you know, especially with the re-releases or the additional platform changes, things like that, parts are pretty cheap. I thought, you know, we took it through its paces pretty good, had some pretty nasty wrecks. I mean, I hate even saying this because I could always say pretty much in every video, like, oh, the shell's kind of crappy. But I see this one does seem, you know, maybe it's just, to me, it seems a little hardier. But, you know, in terms of durability, I thought it was just fine. What do you think?
You get the durability of sedan. The shell protects all the tires. You get the large front bumper. Nothing's hanging out to get broken off, and we put it through its paces, like you said. Never had an issue with it whatsoever in terms of mechanical standpoint.
And what about like replacement parts? What do you see in terms of the cost for that? Is it pretty standard, or is it still a little expensive?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Just because they've had this 16 scale chassis out for so long, it shares so many components with the 16 scale Revo, the Summit, the Rally car, and the Slash. So your parts that your local store carries are going to be, you know, the same parts you need for this one, and they're fairly cheap. Being in a 16 scale, you know, instead of a $10 axle, it's a $3 axle.
What about in terms of like upgrades besides what you mentioned already? What about, I see they've got a spot here for an additional steering servo?
Yeah, some people do that. I see people doing dual steering servos or upgrading to a different servo altogether. A lot of it comes down to personal preference. This one did real well. We haven't had any issues with ours per se, but they do give you that slot and that option.
Sure, and obviously if you go with the Traxxas steering servo, it's going to be waterproof along with everything else, so
right.
That's pretty nice. In terms of fun factor, I thought, not being someone who could drift, I'd probably give it a 2 out of 5. I mean, it's small. I'm not a 16 scale guy, but it was pretty. I mean, it was fun for what it was. I mean, if you go into it thinking it's going to be a drift car, you're going to be pissed, right? You're not going to be happy at all.
Yeah.
You go into it saying like, hey, it's a pretty hot looking rally. That's pretty fun. Yeah,
it's got the Ken Block styling, all the sponsorship. It looks great. It's going to draw a lot of attention when you're driving it. If you got a parking lot around your house or somewhere to drive, you'll enjoy it quite a bit.
Right on. So what about then value? I think we paid just over $300 for this.
Right.
If I had to give, again, my opinion, value is almost like directly related to fun factor. So, you know, do you get some cool parts for the money? Sure. Is it worth $300? For me, it's more of a gimmick or like kind of fun, but you're probably more familiar with the electronics and the value of things that are in there. Maybe to answer that.
Yeah, they set you, for the $300 price tag, they set you up well. Getting it brushless, the 2.4 radio out of the box. But if you're looking to get into drifting, that $300 could be spent elsewhere on a 10 scale drift car for the same price. And sure, you know, you'd be more set up, more well equipped right out of the box to do drifting. Again, this is a fun basher / drifter, but I don't think they quite nailed it in terms of a true drift car.
Sure, it's an awkward place to be in the middle. If you try to cover too much, you become a jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing.
Yep.
And then in terms of performance, it's tough for me because obviously the Valenion, it performs. I mean, it does everything it's supposed to do, and it's hard for me to say really anything other than that if I take out the fact that, hey, you just can't drift this thing. I mean, we did a video, you can get some isolated drifts. Traxxas redid a video that, you know, works a little bit better. If you stuck $50 into it and got the drift tires, like you said, you may even want to go down to a brush motor if you really wanted to. You know, but I guess it performs, it's exactly what I expected it to do, not anything more, not anything less.
Yeah, if they give you the option to have crazy speed for all you speed demons out there, but really for a drift setup, you're probably going to end up doing a lower power setup than what they give you here.
Right on. So as with all of our kit reviews, we're going to talk about, we sum it up at the end by saying, hey, if I could go back in time, if my good friend was Marty McFly, would I have bought this RC? To me, the answer is no. I didn't get enough value out of it. For what we do with our other channel with RC Nightmare, it's very difficult to shoot, very frustrating. You know, we try to shoot our rigs in their stock form, so people want to see a stock Gymkhana drift, and we spent hours and hours and hours
Yes.
to get 2 minutes of footage, and most of it wasn't drift footage. So I'd have to say I'd probably pass on this one if I could go back. How about you?
Yeah, I'd say from a basher standpoint, instead of RC Nightmare standpoint, I'd enjoy it. Again, from a drifter standpoint, I wouldn't buy it. If you're looking to get it just because you love Ken Block, you're going to love having the car. It's extremely scaled. But if you're looking for a drift car or something you can take more than just on perfect pavement, you probably want to pass this one up.
Right, so that's all we've got really to say about the Traxxas Gymkhana. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down below, or shoot on over to friendofrc.com or the RC Nightmare forums and join the conversation. Thanks.
See you guys.